Hello everybody. Tonight we're going to make some spaghetti sauce to freeze for our trip this weekend. We're heading for Expo West. Let's get cooking. I do use mild Italian sausage so everybody can eat it. This has been a homemade family favorite for many years. And it happens to be one that everybody agrees on that we like it. So I'll start with the mild Italian sausage. I use a pound. While that's browning, I will cut open an onion to get started. Now I do normally start this earlier and let it simmer all day. This time we're just going to let it simmer all night. I cook it most of the way. You don't have to cook it all the way through since it does cook for probably 6 to 8 hours usually. But the house will smell great. Now I'll drain into a strainer. Let that cool for a little bit because I will break it up into smaller pieces when I add it back into the sauce. I don't drain all the grease out, I use it to cook the onions before I start the hamburger. Now I'll put some avocado oil in. Give it a little bit more oil. Let that heat for a second, and we'll do our onions. Let the onions. And I do cook these for a little bit. A little bit more olive oil or avocado. I'll use avocado oil. I like those little plastic bottles instead of the large bottles. Just dump it out, and it makes it a little bit easier. And you can check them out on the link below in the description in our gear store. One of the things that I use all the time. Makes it easier. Here's another one of my favorite items, my garlic press, which it's in the link also in the description. But it's so nice. Now I'll add some seasoning to the burger just to season it while it's cooking. I like to use a little bit of Lawry's. Tablespoon. Probably a tablespoon of oregano. I will season this further as it goes along. This is just to season the beef. And some parsley. That's partially why I leave the extra sausage grease in there too, to help season the ground beef. It's getting pretty close. And again, it doesn't have to be cooked well done, but it's going to simmer for several hours. It will be cooked all the way through. So this time I will clean out all the excess grease in the pan. One can of traditional Hunt's tomato sauce, or spaghetti sauce, traditional. And if you don't have one of these can openers, you need to get one. They're the best can opener ever. It leaves you with a clean edge. No cuts. But that can opener is also on one of our links in Sookie's kitchen in our gear, and I love it. I never have to worry about somebody cutting themselves. And these spatulas too are great. And I'll use 1 can of regular tomato sauce. And then 1 can of diced tomatoes. So that's drained pretty well. So I'll add both the sausage and the hamburger ground beef back into the mixture. And now I'll add the red wine. I personally like Pinot Noir. And I won't say any brands. It's all personal preference. Don't go overly expensive. And do about a cup to start because it does cook down. Bring it to a slight boil, and then I'll turn it down to simmer for the evening. But now I'll add parsley. This time about 2 tablespoons. It was just starting to boil, so I'm going to turn it down. More oregano. Probably a tablespoon. And add a little of onion powder. And even though I did fresh garlic, I always add a little bit of garlic. I can find it. And then the fun part. Then I'll do 2 basil leaves, or bay leaves. And I always save cheese rinds from our Parmesan to add to the sauce. And now we'll let that simmer for about 30 minutes and come back and check it. So we've been simmering now for approximately 35 minutes, and you can see how much the wine has cooked down. So I'm gonna add a little more wine, a little more oregano, and just a pinch of thyme. And then we'll continue to simmer for probably another half hour, 45 minutes. Just watch it so it doesn't boil. You really want it to simmer, so another half a cup or so of red wine. And usually the second time around after I've let it simmer for a little bit, I'll leave the oregano and the thyme just sit on top to help me gauge the simmer. And the thyme doesn't take very much at all, maybe half a teaspoon, but it's delicious. So we're back to simmering. Be back in about 45. Well, it's been another 35 minutes or so, and you can tell it's starting to boil in the simmer. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir it and cheat and taste it and see where we're at with spices, because everybody's idea is different. Now the cheese is starting to melt. Give that extra Parmesan flavor in the sauce. Let me get a spoon. But the best part is how the house smells right now. It's good. It's good. So, don't need to do any more seasoning at the moment. Gonna let it simmer for another half hour, 45 minutes. And we'll be back in it. Now after 5 hours of simmering, we have come to a boil again. Cheese is melting wonderfully. Bay leaves have been in here for several hours, looking good. Gonna add a little bit more wine to it. Gonna turn it off and let it cool so we can package it up and freeze it and get it ready for our trip. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you soon.